Hey guys, it's Coach Clay here.
What's up? It's Phil.
Yeah. So today, what are we talking about? This is our last video in the series, Phil. And this series is mainly for you new people new to showing, and we wanted to end with
picking a coach.
That's right.
We talked about it in the last video a litit bit. We probably touched on it a little bit throughout the series, but we wanted to save picking your coach for last because it's not something we wanted to highlight, because everything that we've talked about in about the past 10 videos all comes down to each of those things will change per coach. So we wanted to give you the overall analysis of everything we touched on. Now we're going to help you decide how to pick your coach.
Yep. And there's something I want to start this with and kind of preface. We are coaches. I coach him.
He coaches me.
You
I
know,
coach others.
Yeah, he coaches a ton of clients. My wife is a coach, but I still pay a coach.
I coach coaches. I have coaches on my my roster.
Well, I mean, you coach Becca.
And Michael.
Yeah.
I have multiple. I have more than one coach on my roster.
Yeah, and we coach coaches. So
a lot of personal trainers too.
Yes.
I coach a lot of personal trainers.
But something that I want to preface here, this is my idea when picking a coach. This is not to say, pick me, pick me, pick me. It's really not. I want to give you the down and dirty. I want to tell you about picking your coach, what to look at, what to look for, what to walk away from, so you make an informed, educated decision. So let's get down into it, Phil. Let's talk about this. First and foremost, when you find a coach and you're looking at working with someone, make sure your personalities work well with each other. Make sure that coach can talk to you and you can talk to that coach and you have an open line of communication.
I think communication is definitely going to be one of the biggest factors when it comes to picking your coach. I'm able to communicate with him, so our coach to client relationship is extremely good because I can be very honest about how I'm feeling, how everything's going. But him and I can both vouch for this statement in which we've had many clients come to us and be like, I was scared to ask, or like I didn't know, and then like a situation will come up and we'll just sit here and be like, if I don't know, I can't fix it. If you're not able to communicate.
Yes, the most important thing is that you and your coach can communicate, because if you can't communicate with each other and understand each other and talk about everything that has to do with your body, your appearance, your stage presence, everything, then you can't get instructions across properly.
Absolutely.
So, first thing is make sure you and your coach can communicate, you have a good relationship, you kind of mesh well together. Not all good coaches are going to mesh well with all clients. My atmosphere is very relaxed, and like I've said this before, I don't hunt people for check-ins. Maybe you need a coach that hunts people for check-ins. That means I wouldn't be the right coach for you. I'm not going to stay on top of you. You're a grown-ass person. You come to me because you want something done, and I work with you along with, at any given time, I may have 40 to 70 preps going. So think about this. Today we counted, I have 44 preps going today. 44. So that's 44 people that every week I have to look over their program, look over their diet, look over everything, not including my off seasons. I probably have another 20 in off season, okay? I am actually 6 clients down from my normal where I put myself. So at that point, I'm not as busy as I have been because I've been over my limit before too, but I don't have time with 44 preps to hunt people down.
And another big thing is the communication from your coach. I personally haven't run into this issue, but I know we've both heard it, where somebody will hire a coach, go over a program, and they don't hear from them for 2-3 weeks. I've even heard people like, I've heard from my coach in a month or two, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So you need to make sure your coach is going to be reliable and being able to communicate.
And if you reach out to your coach, they should reach out back to you. That's the time when you do reach back, is because they've reached, a client reaches out to me, I reach right back. I try to same day. Some circumstances don't allow that. So
I always say within 24 hours, for the most part, I'll almost always answer you back within an hour or two. But especially when, right now we're not deep into the season, like the season hasn't kicked off yet. But when we're traveling every weekend, every other weekend.
Especially long distances.
I like set time aside where I'll like go through and answer everyone's text. Like I'll just, for 40 minutes, I'll sit there and text everyone back from, the day's worth of messages.
And a lot of times when I'm traveling, it's the nighttime after the night show's done. Like, let's say we're doing something in Pittsburgh and it's a 4 or 5 day event. You might text me 9 o'clock Monday morning. You might hear back from me at midnight Monday night, which means you're getting it Tuesday morning. But that's because we're traveling. But we always try to respond back. And when I don't, or I don't do what I say, it's my fault. And your coach has to be able to say when they make a mistake. And I'm going to give you guys an example. I had a client that texted me New Year's Eve night. He texted me, say, hey, what's up? Happy New Year's, all that kind of stuff. Says, hey, this week, send me a program for prep. I want to get focused on prep. It's time to go. I want to start out this year with prep. So, go ahead. He had just competed, and I missed the ball on that. He texted me that. We texted back and forth some funny stuff, messing around. Came in first week, didn't do his program, just totally forgot about it because I usually go through my emails. I don't let check-ins through text happen. I always make sure it's emailed. But it really wasn't a check-in. It's like, let's get going in prep. And he told me, and I told him, I'll get you. So first week went by, second week gone by, didn't. And me and this guy talked 3 or 4 times. Third week goes by, and he said something to me. He's like, yo, you told me. And I look back at my text like, damn, I forgot it was New Year's Eve night. He texted me, I was at my parents' house with my kids. We were doing fireworks and stuff. And I just forgot. And what I did on my end is I actually comped this entire month. I said, look, dude, we do a monthly fee. That's the way we do our billing. And I comped his entire month because I let him down. And I'm responsible for that. He shouldn't have to pay for a service that he didn't provide. And since I messed up, that's the way I felt about it. If I was in his shoes, that's what I'd want done. So I actually comped his month, refunded it to him, told him I apologized to him, and got him up and going again. And that's what it takes, a coach that's responsible and a coach that has been in your shoes before. I've seen a lot of coaches, and this really, really, really has been bugging me lately. I've seen it this week. I've seen 2 coaches that's never stepped on stage before. This week. They have never done a show before. I got a client sitting out in the lobby right now. He's my next appointment. I think we're about 30 minutes away from it. And he came to me from a coach that's never shown before. That's a huge issue. And
it's not that it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it's hard to understand what an athlete truly goes through.
It's impossible.
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna break it down to you because I don't care about anybody's feelings. So for that coach out there, I want to say this. You have no clue what goes into week 3, week 2, and week 1 of prep. You have no clue the psychological mindset it takes on you. You have no clue the psychological mindset it takes to step up on that stage and show in front of a crowd of audience. You have no clue the atmosphere of posing and knowing muscle memory, how it has to take over. So you have to practice your posing that much, and you have to instill that discipline into your guys to practice on their own, to practice at home. You don't understand the minute, small amount of just detail that you've never been through yourself. Like, I understand when we're sitting at Universe and he's pumping up, his nerves start coming out, I understand what to say to him to calm him down. I understand what to say to him before he steps on that stage. I understand the feelings that he's going through, the emotion that he's going through. And then I know the emotion when someone steps off stage, when they win, when they lose. I know that emotion. I've been there myself. I'm able to come to you and say, hey, this is our next step. It's okay, this. Or, hey, one hell of a job. All right, we're going out for an overall. This is what we're going to change. We're going to do this and this. We're going to move our angles of this. And that's why we have fucking champions on our team. That's why we take people from never touching a show to pro cards to Olympia, is because that little bit of understanding the psychological aspect that I can give from being in that position changes their whole game. Think about the video. I've only seen the clips of it, but the video backstage when you're getting ready to go for that overall. Tell me that did not inspire you to go out there, and even though you were tired, you're sweaty, you're hot,
clips.
and it did not make you go out there and give your 100% to take that overall.
Yeah, I came off that stage. I was like emotional. I came off that. I teared up. I teared up on stage as soon as they called my name.
Yep. So,
but the thing is, basically, what he's getting at too is, it's hard to write programs, and it's hard if you've never been no carb before. Which luckily, it's not something we do often. It's not something we like to do. But to know what it feels like to go through a no carb week or like a really hard depletion. I had a peak week where he had me 50 minutes morning, 50 minutes night. I remember I literally was tearing up in the gym. I was doing like 5-pound shoulder presses on peak week. Before the show, we were actually just talking about. And even when we were going into Universe, when we're literally walking zombies, like we were quiet because we were so tired we didn't want to speak. And so basically what I'm getting at is your coach should never put you through something that you wouldn't do yourself.
Right.
And I know for a fact, if he tells me you need to do it this way, I know he's done it that way. And once again, it's just, you have to have an understanding of what the process is like from beginning to finish. And especially, 60 shows now?
66.
66 shows he's done. There's a whole lot of experience. Experience is half of the coach.
Right.
Yes, there can be book smarts. There's people who, I came out of school understanding in nutrition. I have my degree, but understanding nutrition and putting a bodybuilding athlete on stage are two completely different worlds.
Yes.
You can't come off of a nutrition degree or a nutrition certification and be like, all right, I want to prep this guy into a bodybuilding show. Absolutely not. They're not going to look their best. The reason I work under him is because of the years of experience he has to be able to share with me. And even to this day, we've been working together for
3 years. Going on 3 years.
Yeah, going on 3 years. And there's still stuff he says, and I'm just like, I would have never thought of that. And it's all situational.
Yeah, it's something major, guys. So you make sure you can communicate with your coach. I believe you need to your coach needs to have an understanding of you and what you're going through, which means I believe they need to have shown before. I'm sorry. So to all you coaches out there listening to this, that's my opinion. You can hate me for it, but I'm not going to speak a lie to somebody. The next thing is, your coach needs to understand your goals, because not everybody's goal is the same. All right, I'm going to use this as an example. I have athletes that come to me and say, I want to do these 4 shows. That means I have to make sure their metabolism's good enough to take all 4 shows. I have to make sure their mindset's good enough to take all 4 shows. I have to make sure their physical well-being, the ability to go to the gym, to do cardio, to do everything is good for all 4 shows. And their goal might be that 4th show is the money show. That's the pro qualifier, or that's their, let's say they are a pro and that's the Win It All Olympia qualifier, not a point show. Something like that. You have to understand that, you have to make sure they can get through all there. It's not one and done. You don't put everything on the line for that one show. You still have to have tricks up your sleeve for show 2, some more tricks for show 3, and more stuff for show 4. We have to get better, okay? We can't digress as we show. Who wants to win an overall and lose 3 shows in a row? I mean, that's a horrible feeling, going out with, I was great here, but I can't hold it. So your coach has to know your goals going into it, because it's majorly different 1st show to 4th show in a year. And your coach has to know how to progress you for each show and make you better for each show, not hurt you. And your coach needs to show if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, because the prep's going to be different. The protocols for that show aren't the same as if you're going to do 4 shows in a row. It comes down to knowing your client, talking with your client, and knowing what you're going to do for them, for their goals. Not for me. It's not my goals. They're paying me to do a job, and I need to do that job to the best of my ability. All right? So I think that's highly important that you talk about that with your coach. I had a client in here today, a female girl, and I told her what she was scheduled to show in 15 weeks out, and
you just popped her into the.
and I said, I think you should do this show.
4th?
Yeah, was it
22nd, 4th,
22nd?
22nd of
Yeah. So we popped her into a show that is
8.
6 weeks earlier.
Oh, 8 weeks from now.
Yep, 8 weeks from now, 6 weeks earlier. So she's going to do an earlier show, and she wanted to do multiple shows this year, and she wanted to try a pro qualifier for her first time this year. And I think doing the earlier show is the right decision for her because of her experience level, and she's changing divisions. But I think she's going to kill this division. And I think we've made a lot of progress on her physique. I mean, I'm impressed with her physique. So you've seen her pose today. I didn't even get to watch her pose because I was doing the other client's diet. But her, knowing her goal was to show a couple times, and I know she's looking at a pro qualifier, I have to keep all that in mind on her. So now we're running to this show. I want you at this body fat percentage for this show. I told her that's going to be 80% of what I'd put her for a pro qualifier, but I still think she can win the overall at 80% because right now you've seen her at 50 today. Imagine 30% better on that.
And so another thing that he's touching into here is every person's prep should be different. Now the statement I'm leading into here is there are a lot of cookie cutter coaches. Now, what does that mean for those of you who are new or who don't understand? You can't hand the same program, food protocol, cardio, and training. You can't hand him and I both the same prep, which unfortunately in this industry is very common. Somebody will write up a program and then they just hand it out to everyone. It may work great for me, and then he might look like so. And it's hard to. I guess you can't even really ask the coach. That's going to be research that you're going to have to do, whether it be asking people around.
Well, that is. The way you go about this, the way you ask this, is you ask your coach, is like, say, do you do customized trainings and diets together? Do you do both that for me? Or are you just doing me a diet and throwing it to me? Because, remember, we don't know how you train prior to us. We don't. That's why I think the training is important, because I give you the training program I want you to run, and I tell you the intensity I think you should be at. And before I think you should be looking for a coach, you should already be at that intensity, and you should be training to be a competitor. You should have that mindset of, I'm going to go in this gym, and I'm going to put it all on the line.
And I know a lot of coaches who actually don't write any training programs.
Right, I know
there's a lot of coaches who only do pretty much cardio, nutrition, and supplementation.
Yep.
We both agree that writing their workouts is extremely beneficial. 1 for us, 2 for them, especially depending on their exercise knowledge. 1, we both have been doing this for a long time. We have worked with a lot of people, so there's a lot of small tips and tricks and exercises and different ways of training. So when we write a training program, if this girl needs to bring up her shoulders and then this girl needs to bring up her glutes, but if they're both getting the same program, they're not individualized to this girl needing bigger shoulders and this girl needing bigger glutes or whatever it may be. So you can't just hand everyone the same program. Most of the time, especially if you're trying to push the higher end of going on stage, hitting a pro qualifier, you need to train your weaknesses, which means we can't train the same program.
Right.
Within that as well, the food choices are extremely important, and some foods work better with some people than others.
Yeah.
So there's another reason outside of the training that you can't just hand people the same program.
One of the things I hate with cookie cutter programs that I see a lot is pick one of the following protein sources, and I see beef, salmon, eggs, turkey breast, chicken breast, and it keeps going on, fish, and you go down that list. Well, let me break this down for you. So we start out with beef, 90-10 ground sirloin, which is lean beef. Okay, 90-10 ground sirloin versus 99-1 chicken breast. Which one's more dense food? One of them's got, for every 4 ounces you're looking at 8 to 10 grams of fat, and the other one you're looking at 2 grams of fat. Heck, you can get down to 1 gram of fat after it's cooked, and you shave it all off. So that chicken breast and that beef are not equal. So if you're eating beef 4 times a day, you're getting an extra 40 grams of fat than if you ate chicken that 4 times a day, you know?
And
that's not how you diet people. You set up their timings of their food too. I tell my clients, for this meal, number 1, you're having this much fat, this much carbs, this much protein, because you're eating these food right here. You know, your protein source is this. I want you this for carbs. I want you to add this on it because I want some extra fats in there, you know? And that'll be their meal. It's not cookie cutter, it's to them. I just wrote it out right in front of them. And I have all my clients tell me foods they're allergic to and foods that they don't want to eat. Because if I can help it, it's not going on the program. Because I'm building it to them and I'm not giving them choices that aren't equal. And I don't give choices, obviously. We know I'm not cookie cutter, I'm not a macros coach. I have done macros programs and I do have some very, very good high-end athletes that get macros on off season. But in season, it's my decision because when they step on that stage, they win for a reason.
I think that's another good thing to touch on too is a lot of people I feel like they want macros. It sounds great. Personally, I'll tell you why I don't like macros. 1, when we come into season, out of season, I perfectly agree. Maybe even the beginning of your season, possibly, depending on the person. But, like you said, food choices. There's different micronutrients that certain things will be needed in certain places. Food timing is another big one. When you're doing macros and you have people changing out their assortments of where their food sources are coming from, you're changing the variable. When we write your program and we write your supplementation, we write your cardio, we write your workout, what we're doing is we're eliminating as many variables as possible. That's really all that we're doing at the end of the day. We're making everything as orderly as possible so we can make adjustments to that to make you your best. When you're implementing macros, there's going to be variations in the food choices. All carbs are not created equal, all fats are not created equal, all proteins are not created equal.
And let me stop right here because this is very important. You know that first thing that I talked about doing multiple shows. If you're gonna I gotta keep you healthy. If I give you macros, you might not be picking the healthy choices. You might be losing the weight, but you might not picking the foods with the micronutrients that I want you to have to keep you healthy, to keep a healthy immune system, to keep healthy lipid levels, to keep healthy for a long run of shows. You might be picking something just simply out of necessity or ease.
Or
like
crave, yeah.
So that's a big difference, and that's why I talk about that is if you're using food sources that don't complement your goals for the long run, you're going to wear your body down. You're not going to have much vitamins and minerals left in you. You're going to have to rely on supplementation of vitamin and minerals more than anything else. So you're going to actually spend a lot more money in the long run. So that's where that really comes into play is think about your goals. It's not to go to show, and let me say this, if your coach tells you stepping on stage is healthy, they're an idiot. This isn't healthy what we do. We're not supposed to get down to, a sub 5% body fat or for girls, sub 12% body fat. I mean, there's a reason why your menstrual cycle stops around 14 to 17% because the body isn't in the most healthiest condition. It stops it, okay?
We are aesthetically pleasing. We are not functionally pleasing, nor are we
epitome of health.
The epitome of health when we're stepping on stage. We're not killing ourselves, but we are not forcing our bodies into a healthy state.
Right. Now, you get some health benefits from it, but that's not here nor there. We're not going to talk about, yes, you're going to force your body to do cardio, so the cardio state of your heart is going to be in a good shape, but you're lacking almost all your micronutrients by the time you step on stage. You're dehydrated, you're depleted of water. Your body has went into a survival mode at some point usually when you're getting down there to, I DEXA'd at 4.9 this year. That's ridiculous, guys. DEXA'd at 4.9. That's low. I know pros at Arnold that I did DEXA with that were in the 6s, that were 6'1" and 6'2", and they're bodybuilding pros, 212 pros, classic pros. I DEXA'd at 4.9. I wasn't healthy, And if you
don't feel healthy.
And if you've seen any of my posts, you know I wasn't feeling healthy.
And
I told you I was dragging. I wasn't feeling good. So I shared it.
And just to touch on that, this isn't about the coaching topic, but like you don't even look that great. There's a portion of your prep where you don't look good. You're flat, you're stringy, you're like, and technically that's a good sign because it means you're getting lean, and you're not supposed to look all pumped up, and you're not supposed to look awesome all the way through your prep because you got to lose the body fat to get down there.
So now you've talked to your coach about their programming, you've talked to your coach about, you know, what they write in detail, your goals, everything. And you've talked to several coaches to see if your personalities mesh.
Definitely talk to multiple coaches.
So then it comes to, let's talk about a budget. Because showing is expensive. Guys, I'm not an expensive coach, but I'm not a cheap coach. The saying is that you're not paying for me, you're paying for my years of experience and education. You're paying for what I've learned along the way to get you from point A to point B. I've probably spent at least, we'll say $120,000 to $150,000 showing.
Probably, think about it. I mean, especially the out-of-state trips and pro qualifiers.
Right, I've shown in other countries, I've shown everywhere. Now, a lot of times we implement vacations into it or something, you know. Me and Sarah will show overseas somewhere, but then we go on a vacation, but still, the cost to do that show is still flight there, flight back, hotels, food, water, wherever you're at. But it gets expensive. So, and I'm estimating that at roughly $10,000 a year of showing when I do that many shows. Now, I don't show, like when I first started out, I think the first 12 months I did 13 shows, so I don't show like that anymore. I'm not in my 20s, so. But that's you know, to give you an idea that it's a lot of money. But next is you got to find someone that you can afford, and you have to ask what else comes with it. Do they do posing, or are you gonna have to pay for a posing coach?
That's actually a good thing.
You know,
I forgot about that.
So you got to look at the things that come with it. Do they charge every time they look at you at a show, or is there a fee for them to go to your show? I'll give you guys an example of this. We charge a fee. So I go to almost every person's show. I usually put multiple clients all in the same shows, and they pay a fee to me to come to that show. That includes my backstage pass. That includes my travel expense, wherever it is in the world that we go. And what else do I charge for? That's pretty much it, right?
Hotel, travel,
Hotel, travel, gas.
Yeah, there might be other small things, but the clients normally split the cost because obviously we don't want to travel to where we're going for free.
I would never be able to be a coach if I did that. So let me put that into example for you guys. Let's say, we use Pittsburgh because I travel there 2 to 3 times a year. We got the Pittsburgh Pro, we have North Americans, and we have Masters Nationals. So if I'm going there 3 times a year, I'm spending, you know, $290 to $350 on plane tickets, $110 a night at a hotel. Usually there for 4 to 5 days at a time, sometimes 6 days. If it's something like North Americans, I fly in on Tuesday, I fly out on Sunday night. You know, it's a lot of money. So we're staying there for multiple days. We have to have a way to get around, whether we get a rental car or Uber. It costs money. Those trips cost me usually $1,500. So if I did that 3 times a year right there just alone, that's $4,500 just for me. Now if my wife goes, now we're looking at $6,000. If I'm going to Honduras, if I'm going to South America, if I'm going to Mexico, if I'm going to Bermuda, if I'm going to the Bahamas, those trips are a lot more. Now you're looking at $3,000 a trip, and I might do 3 of those a year. So now that's $9,000 on top of that $4,500. So that's $13,500 just in travel that I would have spent just on a couple shows. We're talking about, you know, 6 shows. I do 33 shows on average a year with my clients. Multiply that up and it gets very expensive. So that's why we charge that, but we're there for you. And a lot of times to our clients, we might have 10 clients going to one show. It might be $150 a client for us to be there. We're there for 5 days. Not only do I, you know, look at you every day, I peek you in person, I pump you in person, and I'm there with you while you're eating. Everything you do, I'm there every step. I train with you, everything, because we're out of town. My only focus is those people that are there. I make gym time, say this person at this time, this time, this time, this time, they all come there. If my figure girls are all there at 5 o'clock, I might have my men's physique at 6:30, might have my classic physique at 7:30 at night, and I work out with every group of them and train them the way I want them to train and deplete for that show, or to train them, adjusting camera lens up there. But I train with all my clients while we're out of town, and I get you ready. So yes, it costs $150 extra, but it's worth it to most of our clients. I'd say 99.9% have me go out of town with them, because you don't realize, even the backstage when I'm getting you ready to step onto the stage, the things I tell you, the things I look at while I watch other people on stage, when I look at the other competitors, there might be a slight change. I come to you and say, hey, we're not posing like this. Do this and this. I want you to match this girl's posing, because you're going to beat her. She's your only competition here. But we're going to show that we have the smaller waist, the bigger back. So we're going to open up and we're going to show this. Or we're going to turn this way and hit this angle if you're on the left side of the stage. If you're on the right side, I want you to pose at this angle, because I went out there and I watched the girls ahead of you posed. And this is what the flaws that show when you pose at different angles from different sides of the stage. That stuff can be the difference of you taking home a pro card or not taking home a pro card.
And so, wrapping up all of that he just said, you want to make sure your coach is backstage with you at the show. That is my highest recommendation. And I do not recommend, especially if you're a new person,
right,
do not go with a coach who's not going to be with you there on show day.
Right.
I know people who've tried the FaceTime thing.
And I mean, I do it with clients here and there when they have to, but there's sometimes, we're split. I got 5 people at one show, 7 people at another, and 12 at another, so I have to FaceTime them. A lot of times we do this where I'm at one show, you're at another show, and maybe Trey's at another show. So we got 3 coaches from Team Unmatched all at different shows, taking on whoever's clients are there, because we're a team of coaches, and that's how we help each other out. Next is, you want to make sure your coach is a support system for you. Really is important. Somebody that you can talk to and tell them what you're going through. Like, I had a client tell me, man, my training, he's got 4 weeks till he shows, and he told me today, this is the first week I feel like my training sucks, man. I'm giving everything I got, but I feel like there's nothing in the tank. And that's the way it should be. He should feel that way. So, make sure that coach you can talk to openly like that, and he can give you the advice back and tell you it's okay to feel that way. As long as you're giving everything you got, that's all I can ask from you, So you got to make sure that you and that coach, it goes back to communication, can tell him everything. I mean, girls, you're going to be talking about poop. Hey, I haven't pooped in a day. I didn't poop in 2 days. You got to be comfortable with your coach, guys.
Menstrual cycles, stress, everything. People may not go into details, but we hear a lot of personal details about, just because stress and, borderline, we turn into therapists sometimes.
Yeah.
It's part name of the game.
So basically everything that we've said, I'm trying to get into is it's important to have a coach that can guide you, that can be beside you, but it's also important to have a coach that can get you contest ready. So you need to find the best of both worlds for you to get there. Like, I've coached with Trey Kidd for 3 years. I love him as a coach. I do. He's a great coach. He's never failed my physique one time ever. My physique's always perfect. Now, the good thing is me and Trey have never had to talk about like personal stuff, because I'm a coach. He knows what I do. We do the same job. When we hang out, we actually have fun and talk about other stuff, because we both do the same job, and he knows that my experience level speaks for itself. Being on so many shows, I mean, guys, when I started out, I did shows as often as I could. And I stayed that way for a couple of years because I enjoyed it. Then as I moved into coaching, I slowed down on my shows and picked up on other people's shows. And eventually I am where I am now, where I hit, I can't say an average, because one year, last year I only did 3 shows. The year before I did 5 shows or 6 shows. So, but I try to average 3 shows a year. But this year is my first year of not doing a show. So I'm actually going to have a surgery and then get ready for 2022. But like I was saying, with my coach, we have a communication level that's different than most because of the job I do. Whereas other of his clients, he might have a much more personal level of how they're feeling and things that they're going through. And you have to make sure a coach can handle that from you, and make sure he understands it, and make sure he can give you proper feedback. But at the same time, He has to be a coach. He has to say, hey, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to get done, and you got to get it done now. He can't say, well, you're feeling tired today, just don't go to the gym. He's babying you then. He's not telling you to be a big girl, put your panties on, and get your ass in there. It's time. I mean, that's what you got to do. It takes everything you have to make it on stage. There's nothing about it. To make it on stage with a winning physique. Let's put it that way.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So if you want to make it on stage with a winning physique, that's what it takes. All right, Phil, what do you want to add to this before we cut out?
I think we pretty much touched on everything. So, communication.
It's key.
Communication is important. Make sure we do weekly check-ins. And we have pretty much open communication. We leave weekends to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Finances. You have to be able to afford your coach. Make sure your coach is going to be backstage. Especially if you're new.
Yeah, especially if you're new. If you're one of my pros, I have pros that fly over and they do the shit by themselves because they know what they're doing. It's business time.
No cookie cutter coaches. Do not do it. I don't even want to hear it.
If you're going to do cookie cutter, let me tell you something. Just go on bodybuilding.com, follow the program.
Yeah, don't pay a cookie cutter coach. You might as well just try and wing it yourself.
Yeah.
And look for experience in a coach. Knowledge and experience are hand in hand. You want to make sure they know what they're talking about and they know what they've been doing for a while and that they've shown before. I knew you were going to say.
And that they've shown before. And then the importance of that is to help you through the tough times, guys. And if you want to know how good they are as a coach,
ask their clients.
Yeah, I was going to say, peek their Instagram and email their clients. Message them, direct message them. Look at what they're producing. Look at their clients. Do their clients have the physique that you want to touch stage with? I was recommended a coach. He was in the Northeast. He has a very big name. I looked at his clients and I started giggling. So what I did is I brought 5 of my clients up there and swept a show. Why'd I do that though? Because they had never seen what real conditioning's like. I went up there with 5 people. Never been seen before, and won 5 overalls. Because everybody was like, man, this coach is the best, you should go with him. And I peeked him out, I looked at his Instagram, I looked at his clients, I looked at who he was getting ready for show. I had 2 clients that lived up there that were getting ready for show, and I had 3 that wanted to fly out with me. We went up there and we won 5 overalls he's a very big name coach, And the truth is he's a big name because his area is smaller, not because he was good. And I mean, now I run about 20 clients from that area. And it just so happened that slowly they came over the last few years, and I've done that show 3 years in a row, and we've won a lot of overalls up there, and because I have that client base that wants to do that show. But the reason why I'm saying this is don't just look in your area, don't look at one coach because somebody said, look at several coaches. Talk to several coaches, email several coaches, see how they respond to you, see how they talk to you, see if you mesh well together, and see what they're putting on stage.
Go to a show.
Yes.
Go to a show, especially if you're new. If you're new, before you even think about talking to a coach, go to a show and see how lean we actually get.
Right, in person.
Because I can show you a picture. Actually, I just posted one on my story. I look insanely lean. You think I look insanely lean on that photo? You should have seen what I look like in person. It's
a whole nother world.
It's a whole nother world. So, and definitely meet up with like I said, go see a show, meet up with the coach, see what their athletes look like in person if you can. Social media does a great job for the most part, but nothing is like seeing what stage lean looks like firsthand.
Yeah, agreed.
So guys,
that's pretty much it. We're out.
If you have any other questions on getting a coach, drop them down in the comments. And
hold on. I want to preface that. Do not ask me if a coach is good.
Don't ask us about specific coaches unless it's us.
Right.
Which we're good.
Yeah. I won't comment on a coach is good or not.
Yeah, please don't.
The reason why I won't is because if I have to say they're not good, they may be a personal friend. And I don't want to tell a personal friend that I disagree that he's a good coach. So it's a small world.
Yeah, don't ask us about if a coach is good. But just if you have coaching questions,
right,
on maybe
selecting a coach. What should you pay for a coach? I mean, I don't care. I throw my fees out there. I don't care. People can say I'm high. People can say I'm low. I don't care what people think. I think I put a reasonable dollar on it. So that's it.
Alright guys, so go ahead and smash the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and we will see you guys in our next series.
Yes, the next series will be coming. It is a little bit more advanced on this with some different stuff. So we'll see you guys later.
Have a good one, guys.